darf ich euch Sie noch einmal sehr herzlich hier begrüßen im Allianz Stadion nach dem 350. Wiener Derby und das Wort gleich an unseren Trainer Johannes Hoff Thorup geben, Coach. Disappointing afternoon for all in green and white. What were the main reasons you think that we've lost today this derby?
We concede the 2 goals that we do. That makes a huge change to the game. I see a game that is very, very tactical, very tight and locked. I don't count any big chances for any of the teams for 90 minutes. But unfortunately, again, we concede these goals that comes from I'm close to saying out of nowhere. But of course, there's, especially on the first one, a lot of things that we have to do much better. So, I'm heavily disappointed here.
Thank you. Eure Fragen bitte, wie immer, kommt ein Mikrofon und wie meistens wird wahrscheinlich Johannes Bauer beginnen. Nein, Rainer Breitenschlager bitte, Kronenzeitung.
Coach, you knew how Austria will play, but there were no ideas, no plan, no power to create more chances. Of course, how the game went and the goals you conceded, but there was never the feeling of the energy and the power, the ideas to change something, to force chances.
No. And to be honest, I think first half is probably okay. I think we do what we have to do. Of course, when you concede after 8, 9, 10 minutes, something like that, against a team that will be low defending from the start, then it probably gets even more difficult. And I think you could see that, and we could see that. First half is okay, not more than that. And we get the situations we want. Second half, we struggle to show quality and competitiveness. I think we play too slow, and sometimes we play too direct, and we didn't manage to get the situations in and around the box that we have to and that we need to. And then obviously the second goal come from that corner kick situation, makes it close to impossible, if not very, very difficult. So I agree.
Danke, jetzt Johannes, bitte. Erste Reihe, Johannes Bauer, Lola.
Both goals considered through the air, through situations with a high ball. You have probably the tallest defenders in the whole league. How can this happen?
Yeah, I'm not satisfied because again, we have the same amount, or at least close to, of corner kicks and free kick situations around their box, but we struggle to get the maximum out of it. We struggle to create chances from it, and it seems like at the moment that when we have to defend these set pieces against us, it doesn't take much for them to create something in the box. To be absolutely honest, I haven't seen the second goal yet, so I don't know the details in the situation, but it's 100% something where we need to improve, and we do it fast because, of course, against a team like Austria today, where they don't come with too much in open play, it's these situations that you simply have to do so much better. But sometimes it's not just about being tall, it's also about being clever in the way that you defend it. So from having seen it one time in open play, I think it's also a matter of that.
I know that there's a small margin in those situations, like the foul against Johannes Horn. But I think those situations might have a chance to bring some fire in a derby, in a team. But this didn't happen today. Why not?
Yeah, unfortunately we lost him through that tackle, which is not ideal that we have to make a substitution so early in the game and have to change not the game plan, but have to change our positions a little bit because he's out and that is not ideal so early in a game. Of course, I think actually we come back okay from it in first half. Like I said, it's more the second half that's really bad in many ways, because I think we struggle to show the fight and the competitiveness and the desire just to create something. We know that when we play against 11 players on their own half, we have to deliver some more balls into the box and take care of second balls and the balls that drops down in the box, take care of them. But I don't think we were even close to be pushing really enough. First half, like I said, is okay. It's the second half I think is a big disappointment.
While I do know that there's still a round to play, the possibility of a Europa Cup playoff is pretty high right now. If this happens, how to get the team together for another 2 games when everybody thought, okay, the season will be over in a few weeks. Still very much a lot on the brink.
Yeah, and I don't hope any will think like that. Of course, we have a first game to take care of on Sunday, where we again have absolutely everything to play for. No, we don't have it in our hands, but I think we have to get a win and then see how it goes. That's the first priority. If it then becomes into playoffs, I don't want to hear any excuses about people or anyone else thinking about the season could be over, because the team and everyone around it, including us, have shown that this season is a season with a lot of ups and downs and really, really difficult to expect something. So I really don't hope that that's the mindset of anyone. And if we have to go through the playoffs, then that's where we are, and that's what we have deserved. And then we have to show our best in these games.
Danke sehr. Bitte ganz nach hinten zum Thomas Muck.
Coach, I know it's always difficult to get in the mind of a coach, but I get behind the thoughts that you have with the substitution after the Johannes injury, but you never get the speed advantage, and that Ramstl was already booked. You never get Ramstl in a dangerous situation that he could get a second yellow card. Is that even for you, from a coaching point of view, more maybe even the most disappointing thing about besides the result?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, because that's also playing the game and playing it clever. And I think we have seen some teams recently in the games that we've played that they have been better in these situations. They've been better in taking and getting maximum out of situations like that. They also have a central defender with the yellow card that he got early, which I think we also need to create more situations around him to see if we can force something, or at least he needs to be much more defensive in his approach, and he needs to be much more passive. But we didn't manage to do that. So it's a good point.
Cleverness is something that it's not teachable. Cleverness is a quality that a player has or has not. You have now at least one decisive game and maybe 2 more to come. From a coaching point of view, how can you help your team to improve in that quite important games? Because this league is so close that the tiniest of margin can decide a game.
Yeah, and I don't agree that you cannot teach it or you cannot develop it. I think everything, also the mental part of a football game, is something you develop. There's a reason why you often talk about the experienced players being better in these moments. That's because they have tried it many more times. So I think you can develop it, and I think it's something where we have to look at also the small margins in a game to win it into our favor, like getting more free kicks, pushing more for guys on the yellow when we have dribblers on the pitch to take them on. So I think we can, and I think it's a big part of where we have to improve as a team to win these small margins in games, because it's not much today. And like I said, I don't count any chances in both ends today, but still we lose this 1-2-0. So that tells me that it's in this part where we are simply not strong enough or good enough, or maybe something third or fourth.
You talked about the mentality. That is something that is, even before your time, something that is going on for a long time. In a couple of games, I thought in your development, from a mental point of view, you made step forward. Yeah. When I take the last 2 games as an example, it feels like you take step backwards. How would you see it from a mental point of view? And development is always a roller coaster, right? Yeah. Sometimes it goes up and down. How do you bring stability to the team in that point of view? Yeah, and that's simply what we have to develop into this group of players. And it's not easy, and it takes some time, because you can see we start so well. Now I'll talk about another game. We start so well Monday night and play some really good football and really have the game where we want it. But then out of a sudden it slips out of our hands, which is it mentality? Is it cleverness? Is it experience? What is it exactly? What it tells me is that as a team we're not good and solid enough to just take care of a football game from minute 1 to minute 90 with everything it takes. I think we have good moments in all the games that we play, but there's also moments where we are not
I will not say ready enough, but I would say, making that foul when you really have to do it, winning that foul when you really have to do it, killing the tempo of the game sometimes when you really have to do it. All these small things. Today we even struggle with our own throw-ins in situations, which is another thing that tells me that this group of players and where we are as a team, we're not solid at all in these mental or mentality things that happens in a football game. That is very, very difficult to train, but we have to, and we have to highlight all the situations because it is a matter of getting the points or not.
Coach, final question from my side for now. You have now 2 very disappointing games under your belt in 1 week. How do you handle it? Do you say today and tomorrow we will take a day off to get the head free for the decisive games, or do you say okay, now it's crunch time, now it's absolute money time, tomorrow we have to work on it and maybe even work harder and for the last week to go into this so often called 105% region?
Yeah, and it's the only thing that really matters. Of course, we are in tomorrow just to get this game out of the system. And I think sometimes often it's better to do it as fast as possible. Then we take a day off on Tuesday and start focusing from Wednesday on the next game ahead of us. And that's, I think it will contain a lot of things from today, but also the last game, because I hope we can make it an even and a tight game again. And then I will do my absolute best to see if we can get the margins into our side and find the moments in the game where we can get them onto our side. So that's where my mindset is for now. But yeah, like you said, it's there's also a matter of how much information you can take in when you just have lost a game like today. So it's also about giving the time and space to get the negative thoughts out and then find the right moment to start working on the next.
Danke. Dann bitte noch einmal auf die andere Seite zu Alex Huber von Kurier.
Coach, I was seeing what you have done from day one, and you have all the time been very optimistic. So on this night, do you have to admit that maybe you have to be too optimistic about the strengths in this squad, especially the offensive strengths and the mentality?
No, I don't think I am, because I think the only thing that matters in football and you work with a team is to be optimistic and positive around the development. I also have to be realistic and say that what we have seen in what we've played in the Meistergruppe, nine games, is that we can be very, very good, but we can also be the opposite. And that tells me there's a lot of work ahead of us. There's a lot of work in the future to make this group of players much more consistent, and it's not something you can do overnight. It will take a little bit of time to do that, but it's a big thing for me and for us. Of course, you asked me on a day where we just lost the derby, so even my thoughts are not too optimistic today. It's probably the worst experience I've had so far with this team in terms of emotions and feelings, but that will not affect the way that we work, and it will not affect the way that we will do our absolute best to improve this team and develop this team.
And do you think that Johannes Horn will come back?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, and I haven't spoken to the physical department yet. So it was difficult for me to see from my ankle what really happened in the tackle. So that's something we take later this evening. Hopefully he is back on pitch again next week.
And last question, you told us how disappointing the second half was. Why did you not try to change a little bit with some more changes? Because there was only 3 new players.
Yeah, because I think what we needed was probably more offensive players. So I think we brought them on. We brought Nicky early on. So we had Jussi, we had Erci, we had Kuliksen available. Could we bring one more? Yeah. Maybe. I think we tried many things, but sometimes it's also about giving them a little bit of time in there to find get themselves into the game. And if you start to change too much and too early, sometimes you completely lose that flow you try to create. But I agree, we didn't find the flow. So should we have changed earlier? Should we have changed different? That will definitely be also my reflections when I unfortunately have to look the game through again this evening.
Dankeschön. Thanks, Coach. Danke für euer Interesse. Also es gibt noch eine Frage, aber ich glaube, wir haben alles absolviert und schönen Sonntagabend noch. Thanks.
Of course.